Hi everyone, I'm Emma.
I'm Jack.
Welcome to our channel. Have you ever noticed that some people always seem to be improving themselves?
Yeah, it's interesting because you can meet two people who have similar backgrounds, similar opportunities, and similar challenges. But after several years, their lives can look completely different.
Right. One person keeps learning, growing, and trying new things, while another person stays in the same place.
Exactly. And many people think the difference comes from talent or luck, but I don't think that's the whole story.
So what do you think makes the biggest difference?
I think it often comes down to mindset. The way people think about growth, challenges, and improvement has a huge influence on their future.
That's interesting because when people talk about successful people, they often focus on the results.
Yeah, they see someone with a successful career, a healthy lifestyle, or strong skills, but they don't see the daily choices behind those results.
The small decisions that happen every day.
Exactly. Success usually doesn't come from one big moment. It comes from many small actions repeated over a long period of time.
That reminds me of something. People often say they want to change their lives, but they expect changes to happen quickly.
Yeah, that's a very common problem. People want immediate results, but real improvement usually takes patience.
For example, someone wants to become healthier, so they exercise for 3 days and expect a huge difference.
Right. Then when they don't see dramatic results, they feel disappointed and give up.
But the body needs time to change.
Exactly. And the same thing happens with learning, career development, and personal growth.
So maybe one important skill is learning to be patient with the process.
Definitely. Successful people understand that progress is often invisible at the beginning.
Invisible.
Yeah, imagine planting a tree. For a long time, you don't see much happening above the ground, but underneath, the roots are growing.
That's a great example.
Personal growth is similar. You might not notice changes every day, but your efforts are building something.
I think many people stop because they don't see immediate progress.
Exactly. They mistake slow progress for no progress.
That's an important difference.
A lot of successful people are not necessarily more talented. They are just willing to continue when others stop.
So persistence is a major factor.
Yes, the ability to keep going even when things are difficult is incredibly valuable.
But staying motivated all the time is not easy.
No, and actually, successful people are not motivated all the time either.
Really?
Of course, everyone has difficult days. Everyone feels tired, uncertain, or frustrated.
So what makes them different?
They don't depend only on motivation. They create systems and habits that help them continue.
That's interesting. So instead of asking, how can I feel motivated every day? They ask, how can I make progress even when I don't feel motivated?
Exactly. That's a much more practical question.
I think many people underestimate the power of routine.
They do. They think successful people are successful because they have incredible discipline.
But maybe discipline is actually built through routines.
Right, discipline is not something magical that only certain people have. It's something you develop through practice.
Can you give an example?
Sure, someone who reads every day doesn't necessarily love reading every single day. They simply created a habit of reading.
So the habit becomes stronger than the temporary feeling.
Exactly.
That's probably why successful people often have simple daily routines.
Yes, many high-achieving people protect their mornings, plan their days, exercise regularly, or spend time learning.
Not because those actions are exciting every day.
Right, they do them because they know those actions create long-term benefits.
I think another thing successful people understand is the importance of learning.
Definitely. The world changes quickly, so people who continue learning usually have more opportunities.
Learning doesn't only mean going to school.
Exactly. Learning can happen anywhere. You can learn from books, conversations, experiences, mistakes, and other people.
I like that idea because it means everyone can continue improving.
Yes, you are never finished learning.
Some people think that after a certain age, it's too late to start something new.
Yeah, but many people prove that idea wrong.
Why do people believe that?
Sometimes they are afraid of starting as a beginner again.
Because being a beginner can feel uncomfortable.
Exactly. Adults often want to look capable, so starting something new can feel embarrassing.
But every expert was once a beginner.
Right? Nobody starts with confidence and skill. They build those things through practice.
That's something people often forget.
Yeah, they compare their beginning with someone else's middle.
That's a good way to describe it.
Imagine watching a professional musician perform and thinking, I could never do that.
But you don't see the thousands of hours they spent practicing.
Exactly. You only see the final performance.
So when we admire someone's success, we should also respect the process behind it.
Definitely. The process is usually where the real growth happens.
Let's talk about personal responsibility. Do you think successful people take more responsibility for their lives?
I think many of them do. They understand that while they cannot control everything, they can control their responses.
That's a powerful idea.
For example, everyone faces problems, but people respond differently.
One person might say, nothing can change, while another asks, what can I do next?
Exactly. That question can completely change your approach.
So focusing on solutions, instead of only problems.
Right, successful people are not people without problems. They are people who develop better ways to handle problems.
That's an important point.
Sometimes people imagine successful people have easy lives.
But that's usually not true.
Not at all. Many successful people have experienced failure, rejection, and difficult periods.
The difference is how they respond.
Exactly. They learn from experiences instead of letting those experiences define them.
I think that's connected to confidence too.
Definitely. Real confidence doesn't come from always winning.
Then where does it come from?
It comes from knowing that you can handle challenges.
So confidence is built through experience.
Right? Every time you face something difficult and overcome it, you become stronger.
That means avoiding challenges can actually slow personal growth.
Exactly. Comfort feels good, but growth usually happens outside your comfort zone.
That phrase is very popular, but sometimes people don't know what it really means.
It means doing things that are slightly difficult or unfamiliar.
Not making your life impossible.
Right? Growth doesn't mean constantly suffering. It means regularly challenging yourself.
For example, speaking in public if you are shy.
Exactly. Or learning a new skill, meeting new people, or taking on a new responsibility.
At first it feels uncomfortable.
Yes, but after practice, something that was scary becomes normal.
That's how people expand their abilities.
Exactly.
So if someone wants to improve themselves, where should they start?
I would say start with small changes. Don't try to completely change your life overnight.
Why not?
Because huge changes are difficult to maintain. Small changes are easier to repeat.
Like reading 10 pages a day, instead of trying to finish 5 books in 1 week.
Exactly. Or exercising 20 minutes a day instead of making an unrealistic workout plan.
Small actions create identity.
That's a great point. When you repeat an action, you start seeing yourself differently.
For example, someone who reads every day starts thinking, I am a person who enjoys learning.
Exactly. Your habits shape your identity.
That's a really powerful idea.
And the good news is that anyone can start.
You don't need special talent or perfect conditions.
Right? You just need the willingness to take the first step.
I think that's a great place to end this part.
Yeah, improvement is not about becoming a completely different person overnight. It's about becoming a little better than yesterday.
Small progress, repeated consistently.
Exactly. Those small improvements eventually create big changes.
In the last part, we talked about why some people keep improving while others stay in the same place. I think one of the biggest reasons is their daily habits.
Yeah, habits are incredibly powerful because they shape our lives little by little. Most people don't realize that their everyday actions are creating their future.
That's interesting, because people often focus on big decisions.
Right? They think one big opportunity or one important choice will completely change their life.
But many changes actually come from small things we do repeatedly.
Exactly. A person's life is usually the result of thousands of small decisions.
For example, what time they wake up, what they eat, what they read, and how they spend their free time.
Yes, those things may seem small on one particular day, but over years, they create a huge difference.
It's almost like putting small drops of water into a cup every day.
That's a great comparison. One drop doesn't seem important, but eventually the cup becomes full.
I think many people understand this idea, but they still struggle to create good habits.
Yeah, because knowing something is important doesn't always make it easy.
Why do you think building habits is difficult?
One reason is that people usually focus too much on the result and not enough on the process.
Can you explain that?
Sure, someone might say, I want to lose weight, or I want to learn a language, or I want to become successful.
Those are goals.
Exactly. But goals only tell you where you want to go. They don't tell you what you need to do every day.
So habits are the actions that move you toward the goal.
Right? A goal without a system is just a wish.
That's a powerful sentence.
Because many people have dreams, but they don't have daily actions connected to those dreams.
For example, someone wants to improve their English, but they don't practice regularly.
Exactly. Wanting something is not enough. Your daily behavior needs to support your goal.
So successful people focus on systems.
Yes, they ask, what should I do every day to become the person I want to be?
That question changes the way you think.
Definitely.
Let's talk about morning routines. Many successful people seem to have structured mornings.
Yeah, a good morning routine can help people start the day with purpose.
What kind of things do people usually include in their mornings?
It depends on the person, but common habits include exercise, reading, planning the day, or spending some quiet time thinking.
Why is the morning so important?
Because the morning often sets the direction of the whole day.
If you start the day feeling organized, you may make better decisions later.
Exactly. But it doesn't mean everyone needs to wake up at 5 in the morning.
That's a good point.
A lot of people believe successful people must wake up extremely early, but that's not necessarily true.
The important thing is creating a routine that works for you.
Exactly. A habit is useful only if you can maintain it.
So copying someone else's routine is not always the answer.
Right, what works for one person may not work for another.
I think that's something people forget. They see someone successful and try to copy everything.
Yeah, but they don't consider the person's lifestyle, personality, or responsibilities.
So personalizing your habits is important.
Definitely.
Another common problem is procrastination.
Yeah, procrastination affects almost everyone.
Why do people delay things they know are important?
There are many reasons. Sometimes the task feels too difficult. Sometimes people are afraid of failure. Sometimes they simply don't know where to start.
So procrastination is not always about laziness.
Exactly. People often blame themselves, but there is usually a reason behind it.
How can people overcome procrastination?
One useful method is making the first step very small.
For example,
If you want to exercise, don't think, I need to complete a 1-hour workout. Just say, I'll put on my shoes and exercise for 5 minutes.
because starting is usually the hardest part.
Exactly. Once you begin, continuing becomes easier.
That's true. Many times the thing we fear is starting, not actually doing the task.
Right.
I think another important habit is planning.
Definitely. Planning helps people use their time more intentionally.
Many people say they are busy, but sometimes they are just reacting to everything around them.
That's a great observation. Being busy doesn't always mean being productive.
What's the difference?
Being busy means doing many things. Being productive means doing things that actually move you toward your goals.
So someone can be busy all day and still make no progress.
Exactly.
That happens a lot in modern life because there are so many distractions.
Yes, phones, social media, and endless notifications can easily take our attention.
Do you think technology is the problem?
Not necessarily. Technology can be extremely useful. The problem is using it without control.
So the goal is not to avoid technology, but to use it wisely.
Exactly.
Successful people often protect their attention
Yes, they understand that attention is valuable.
because whatever receives your attention grows.
Exactly. If you spend hours every day on distractions, those distractions become a bigger part of your life.
But if you spend time learning and improving, those things grow too.
Right.
Let's talk about reading. Many successful people read regularly.
Yes, reading is one of the simplest ways to learn from other people's experiences.
You can learn from someone who spent decades studying a subject.
Exactly. A book can contain years of someone's knowledge and experience.
That's amazing when you think about it.
It really is.
But some people say they don't have time to read.
Usually the problem is not time, it's priority.
Meaning,
People find time for things that are important to them.
so if learning becomes a priority, they will create time for it.
Exactly.
Another habit I think is important is reflection.
Definitely. Reflection helps people understand themselves better.
What does reflection look like?
It can be simple. You can ask yourself questions like, what did I learn today? Or what could I do better tomorrow?
So taking time to think, instead of just moving from one day to another.
Exactly.
I think many people live very quickly.
Yeah, they are always doing something, but they rarely stop and think about whether they are moving in the right direction.
Reflection helps you adjust.
Right? It's like checking a map during a journey.
That's a good example.
If you never check your direction, you might travel very far but end up somewhere you didn't want to go.
That's true.
Successful people often review their progress and make changes.
They don't just repeat the same actions forever.
Exactly. Growth requires learning and adjusting.
I also think discipline is a topic many people misunderstand.
Yeah, some people think disciplined people always feel motivated.
But that's not true.
Not at all. Discipline means doing what matters even when you don't feel like doing it.
So discipline is a skill.
Exactly. And like any skill, it improves with practice.
Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your discipline becomes stronger.
Right. Self-trust grows when you prove to yourself that you can follow through.
That's an interesting idea, keeping promises to yourself.
Yeah, many people are good at keeping promises to others, but often break promises to themselves.
Like saying, I'll start tomorrow, again and again.
Exactly.
So building habits is also about building trust with yourself.
Definitely.
I think the most important thing is not trying to change everything at once.
Absolutely. Trying to completely redesign your life overnight usually creates stress.
Small changes are easier.
Yes, add one positive habit at a time.
Maybe start with reading 10 minutes a day,
Or taking a short walk every day.
or spending 15 minutes learning a new skill.
Exactly. These small actions seem simple, but they create momentum.
And momentum makes future changes easier.
Right. Once you prove that you can create one good habit, you become more confident about creating others.
So success is not only about what you achieve.
It's also about who you become through the process.
That's a great way to look at it.
Your habits are shaping the person you are becoming.
And every day gives you another opportunity to improve.
Exactly. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep moving forward.
We've talked about habits and daily actions, but there is another important part of personal growth that people often avoid talking about, and that is failure.
Yeah, failure is something everyone experiences, but many people see it as something negative.
They think failure means they are not good enough.
Exactly. They see failure as proof that they should stop trying.
But successful people often have a completely different view of failure.
Right? They don't see failure as the opposite of success. They see it as part of the journey toward success.
That's an interesting way to think about it.
Think about any person who achieved something meaningful. Almost every one of them experienced mistakes, disappointments, and setbacks along the way.
But we usually only see the final result.
Exactly. We see the successful business, the finished project, or the amazing achievement, but we don't see all the difficult moments before that.
It's like watching a movie and only seeing the final scene.
That's a good comparison. You miss the entire story that created that ending.
Why do you think people are so afraid of failure?
I think one reason is that people connect failure with their identity.
What does that mean?
They don't just think, I failed at this task. They think, I am a failure.
That's a big difference.
Exactly. A mistake is something that happened. It doesn't define who you are.
That's a very important lesson.
For example, if someone tries to learn a new language and struggles, it doesn't mean they are bad at languages.
It simply means they need more practice.
Right? The result is feedback, not a judgment.
I like that word, feedback.
Yeah, successful people often ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of only asking, why did this happen to me?
That question changes everything.
It changes your focus from blame to improvement.
Let's talk about famous people who failed before becoming successful.
There are many examples. A lot of successful people were rejected, criticized, or made major mistakes before they achieved their goals.
So failure is not unusual.
Not at all. Failure is actually a normal part of doing something challenging.
That's interesting because people often think successful people are successful because they avoid failure.
But usually the opposite is true. They are successful because they were willing to continue after failure.
So the difference is not whether someone fails.
Exactly, everyone fails. The difference is how people respond.
Some people stop after one failure.
Right? Others analyze what happened, make adjustments, and try again.
That sounds like a growth mindset.
Exactly. A growth mindset means believing that abilities can improve through effort and learning.
Instead of thinking, I'm not good at this.
Right? You think, I'm not good at this yet.
That small word changes the meaning.
Yes, yet leaves the door open for improvement.
I think that is especially important for beginners.
Definitely. Beginners often compare themselves with experienced people and feel discouraged.
They forget that everyone starts somewhere.
Exactly.
Let's use an everyday example. Imagine someone wants to start exercising.
Okay.
They go to the gym for a week, but they don't see much change.
They might think, this isn't working.
Then they quit.
Right, but a different person might ask, what can I improve? Should I change my routine? Should I be more patient?
The second person learns from the experience.
Exactly.
So failure itself is not the problem.
Right, the problem is refusing to learn from failure.
That's a powerful idea.
Failure can actually become one of your best teachers.
Why?
Because success doesn't always show you what you need to improve. Failure often gives you clear information.
For example, if a presentation goes badly, you can learn what skills you need to develop.
Exactly. Maybe you need better preparation, better communication, or more confidence.
The experience shows you where to grow.
Right.
Another difficult thing is dealing with criticism.
Yeah, many people struggle with criticism because it feels personal.
Nobody enjoys hearing negative comments.
That's true, but learning how to handle useful criticism is a valuable skill.
How should people respond to criticism?
First, they should separate useful feedback from unnecessary negativity.
Because not all criticism is helpful.
Exactly. Some criticism can help you improve. Other criticism is just someone's opinion.
So you need to think carefully.
Right? Ask yourself, is there something I can learn from this?
If yes, use it.
Exactly. If not, don't let it control your emotions.
That's easier said than done.
Of course, it takes practice.
Many people are also afraid of rejection.
Yeah, rejection can feel painful because humans naturally want acceptance.
Whether it's a job application, a relationship, or a personal goal.
Exactly.
How can people become stronger when facing rejection?
They need to understand that rejection is often about the situation, not their value as a person.
Can you explain that?
Sure, if you apply for a job and don't get accepted, it doesn't mean you have no ability. It may mean there was someone else who matched the position better.
So one result doesn't define your future.
Exactly.
I think many people give up too early because they interpret one failure as a final answer.
That happens a lot.
But successful people often see failure as temporary.
Right? They think, this attempt didn't work, not nothing will ever work.
That mindset creates possibilities.
Exactly.
I also think failure teaches patience.
Definitely. When things don't happen quickly, you learn to continue without immediate rewards.
That skill is useful in almost every area of life.
Yes, building a career, learning a skill, improving health, and creating relationships all require patience.
Because meaningful results usually take time.
Exactly.
Let's talk about mistakes. Some people spend a lot of energy trying to avoid every mistake.
Yeah, but avoiding all mistakes is impossible.
Then what should people do?
They should focus on making better mistakes.
Better mistakes.
Yes, a beginner makes mistakes because they lack experience. An experienced person makes mistakes while trying something new.
So mistakes can actually show that you are challenging yourself.
Exactly.
That's a different perspective.
Many people who achieve great things are not people who never make mistakes. They are people who learn quickly from mistakes.
So the speed of learning matters.
Right? The faster you learn, the faster you improve.
I think another important lesson is not comparing your failures with someone else's success.
Definitely, that comparison is unfair.
Because you see their results, but not their struggles.
Exactly. Everyone has private battles that other people don't see.
So focusing on your own progress is healthier.
Yes, compare yourself with who you were before, not with someone else's current situation.
That connects with personal growth.
Exactly.
If someone is currently experiencing failure, what advice would you give them?
I would say, don't make a permanent decision based on a temporary situation.
That's a great sentence.
A difficult moment doesn't mean your entire future will be difficult.
One setback is only one chapter.
Exactly, it's not the whole story.
I think people need to remember that growth is rarely a straight line.
Absolutely, growth has ups and downs.
Sometimes you move forward, sometimes you step back.
But every experience teaches you something.
So failure can become part of success.
Exactly. The people who succeed are often the people who were willing to continue learning after failure.
That's a powerful message.
Failure is not the end. Sometimes it is the beginning of a better approach.
And every challenge gives you a chance to become stronger.
Exactly. The goal is not to avoid failure. The goal is to grow from it.
We've talked about habits and failure, but there is another important part of personal growth that affects almost everything we do: confidence.
Yeah, confidence can completely change the way people approach life. It affects how we make decisions, how we communicate with others, and whether we are willing to try new things.
But confidence is interesting because some people seem naturally confident, while others always doubt themselves.
That's true, but I think many people misunderstand confidence. They think confident people are simply born that way.
But confidence is something we can develop.
Exactly. Confidence is not a personality trait that only certain people have. It is a skill that grows through experience.
That's an important idea because some people wait until they feel confident before taking action.
Yeah, and that often keeps them stuck.
Why?
Because confidence usually comes after action, not before it.
So you don't become confident and then start.
Right? You start, you learn, you improve, and then confidence grows.
That's similar to what we talked about with failure.
Exactly. When you face challenges and discover that you can handle them, you build trust in yourself.
Self-trust.
Yes, I think real confidence is actually trusting yourself.
Not believing that you're perfect.
Exactly. Confident people still have doubts. They still feel nervous sometimes.
Really?
Of course. Confidence does not mean you never feel afraid. It means you believe you can handle the situation even when you feel afraid.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, a person giving a speech may still feel nervous, but they trust themselves enough to do it.
So courage and confidence are connected.
Definitely. Courage is taking action even when something feels uncomfortable.
I think many people underestimate themselves.
They do. Sometimes people have abilities they never discover because they never give themselves a chance.
Why do people doubt themselves so much?
There are many reasons. Sometimes it comes from past experiences, criticism, comparison, or fear of making mistakes.
Comparison is a big one.
Yes, especially today, when people constantly see other people's achievements online.
They see someone's best moments.
Exactly. They see someone's success, their achievements, their lifestyle, but they don't see the struggles behind it.
Then they compare their normal life with someone else's highlight moments.
Right? That comparison can damage confidence.
So how can people avoid this?
By focusing more on their own progress.
Instead of asking, why am I not as successful as that person?
Exactly. Ask, am I better than I was 6 months ago?
That's a healthier question.
Yes, personal growth is personal. Everyone has a different starting point and a different path.
I think another way to build confidence is keeping small promises to yourself.
Absolutely. This is something many people don't talk about.
Why are small promises important?
Because every time you do what you said you would do, you prove to yourself that you can trust yourself.
For example, if you say, I will exercise today, and you actually do it.
Exactly. That small action sends a message to your brain. I am someone who follows through.
Over time, that changes how you see yourself.
Right? Confidence is built from evidence.
Evidence.
Yes, you become confident because you have experiences that show you are capable.
So positive thinking alone is not enough.
Exactly. Telling yourself I am confident can help, but real confidence comes from action.
That makes sense.
You cannot build confidence by only thinking about success. You build it by doing difficult things and proving you can handle them.
Let's talk about mindset. Many successful people talk about having a growth mindset.
Yes, a growth mindset is the belief that your abilities can improve through learning and effort.
Compared with a fixed mindset.
Exactly. A fixed mindset says, I'm just not good at this, while a growth mindset says, I can get better with practice.
That difference can change everything.
It really can.
Can you give an example?
Imagine two people learning a new skill. Both struggle at the beginning.
Okay.
The first person thinks, I'm terrible at this, I should stop.
And the second person.
The second person thinks, I'm struggling because I'm still learning, I need more practice.
The situation is the same, but the response is different.
Exactly. The mindset creates different results.
I think this applies to many areas of life.
Definitely. Learning languages, building careers, relationships, and personal development all require this mindset.
Because improvement takes time.
Right. If you expect yourself to be good immediately, you will probably feel disappointed.
But if you expect yourself to improve gradually, you can stay patient.
Exactly.
Another thing that affects confidence is stepping outside your comfort zone.
Yes, growth usually requires doing things that feel unfamiliar.
But people naturally want to stay comfortable.
Of course, comfort feels safe.
So why should we leave it?
Because staying comfortable all the time limits your growth.
Can you explain that?
Think about physical exercise. If you only do what feels easy, your body doesn't become stronger.
You need some challenge.
Exactly. Personal growth works the same way.
But some people think leaving their comfort zone means making huge changes.
That's a misunderstanding. It doesn't mean you need to completely change your life overnight.
It can be small challenges.
Exactly. Maybe speaking up in a meeting, trying a new activity, learning a new skill, or meeting new people.
Small challenges expand your confidence.
Right. Each experience shows you that you can do more than you thought.
I think fear is another thing that stops people.
Definitely, fear can be powerful.
People fear failure, rejection, judgment, and uncertainty.
Yes, but successful people learn to move forward even when fear exists.
They don't wait for fear to disappear.
Exactly. If you wait until you feel no fear, you may wait forever.
That's a powerful point.
Everyone feels fear. The difference is whether fear controls your decisions.
So confidence is not the absence of fear.
Right, it is the ability to act despite fear.
I think this is especially important for people who want to change careers or start something new.
Absolutely. Big changes always involve uncertainty.
And uncertainty can feel uncomfortable.
Yes, but many opportunities exist outside certainty.
That's true.
If you only choose things that feel completely safe, you may miss opportunities to grow.
So learning to accept uncertainty is part of becoming stronger.
Exactly.
What about negative thoughts? Many people struggle with self-criticism.
Yeah, the way we talk to ourselves matters a lot.
Some people would never talk to a friend the way they talk to themselves.
That's very true.
They are extremely harsh with themselves.
Exactly. They make one mistake and immediately think, I'm useless, or I'll never succeed.
But that's not helpful.
No, a better approach is speaking to yourself with honesty and kindness.
Not ignoring problems, but not attacking yourself either.
Exactly. You can say, I made a mistake, but I can learn from it.
That sounds much healthier.
And it helps you continue improving.
So a growth mindset is not about pretending everything is perfect.
Right, it is about believing improvement is possible.
I really like that idea.
Because life will always have challenges. The question is whether you believe you can grow through them.
Confidence, habits, and mindset all seem connected.
They are. Good habits create progress. Progress creates confidence. Confidence helps you take bigger challenges.
It becomes a positive cycle.
Exactly.
So if someone wants to become more confident, where should they begin?
Start with one small challenge.
Something manageable.
Yes, do something slightly uncomfortable and prove to yourself that you can handle it.
Then repeat.
Exactly. Confidence grows one experience at a time.
That's a great message.
You don't need to become a completely different person. You just need to believe that you are capable of becoming better.
And every day is another opportunity to grow.
Exactly.
We've talked about habits, failure, confidence, and mindset. But after all of these things, there is one final question. What kind of life do we actually want to create?
That's a really important question, because many people spend years chasing goals without stopping to think about whether those goals are truly meaningful to them.
They are busy working towards something, but they never ask themselves why.
Exactly. They follow a path because other people expect them to, or because they think it is the definition of success.
So creating a better life starts with understanding yourself.
Yes, before you decide where you want to go, you need to know what matters to you.
That sounds simple, but many people find it difficult.
It is difficult because we receive so many messages from the outside world about what a successful life should look like.
For example, people often think success means having a certain job, making a certain amount of money, or reaching a certain social status.
Right, those things can be valuable, but they are not the only definition of success.
Everyone has different priorities.
Exactly. For one person, success may mean building a business. For another person, it may mean having more time with family. For someone else, it may mean learning new things and having freedom.
So there is no single version of a successful life.
That's right. The important thing is creating a life that matches your own values.
What are values?
Values are the things that are truly important to you. They guide your decisions and influence how you spend your time.
Can you give some examples?
Sure, some people value creativity, independence, security, relationships, growth, adventure, or helping others.
And understanding your values helps you make better choices.
Exactly. When your actions match your values, life usually feels more meaningful.
I think many people feel unhappy because their daily life doesn't match what they really care about.
Yes, they may be successful according to other people's standards, but they don't feel satisfied.
That's an interesting difference.
External success and internal satisfaction are not always the same thing.
So people need to define success for themselves.
Exactly.
Let's talk about goals. Many people set goals at the beginning of the year, but they often give up after a few weeks.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Why do you think people struggle with goals?
One reason is that they set goals without creating a realistic plan.
They focus on the destination, but ignore the journey.
Exactly. A goal is important, but the daily actions behind it are what create results.
So it connects back to habits.
Right goals give you direction. Habits move you forward.
I like that.
For example, saying, "I want to become healthier" is a goal.
But exercising 3 times a week and preparing better meals are the habits.
Exactly.
Another problem is that people set goals that are too big.
Yes, big goals can be inspiring, but if they feel impossible, people may lose motivation.
So breaking goals into smaller steps helps.
Definitely. A huge goal becomes less scary when you divide it into smaller actions.
For example, someone wants to write a book.
Instead of thinking, "I need to write an entire book," they can focus on writing 1 page a day.
Small progress adds up.
Exactly.
I think patience is really connected to creating the life you want.
Absolutely. Many meaningful things take time.
A career, a skill, a relationship, or personal growth.
Right. We live in a world where people want fast results, but important things usually require consistency.
That can be frustrating.
It can, but learning to enjoy the process makes the journey much easier.
What do you mean by enjoying the process?
Instead of only thinking about the final result, appreciate the person you become while working toward it.
So the journey itself has value.
Exactly. For example, someone learning a language doesn't only gain a new skill, they also become more patient, disciplined, and open-minded.
That's a great perspective.
The process changes you.
Let's talk about balance. Many people want success, but they also struggle with stress and burnout.
Yeah, this is a very important topic.
Why do people often ignore balance?
Sometimes they believe working harder always means achieving more.
But that's not always true.
Exactly. Without rest, people eventually lose energy and focus.
So rest is not a waste of time.
Not at all. Rest helps you continue performing well.
That's similar to exercise. Your body needs recovery.
Exactly. Your mind needs recovery too.
What are some ways people can create better balance?
First, they need to understand that time is limited.
Everyone has the same 24 hours.
Right, the question is not how to create more time, but how to use time intentionally.
That means choosing what deserves your attention.
Exactly.
Sometimes saying no is also important.
Yes, many people have difficulty saying no because they want to please everyone.
But saying yes to everything can create stress.
Right, protecting your time allows you to focus on what truly matters.
That's a skill many people need to learn.
Definitely.
Another important part of creating a better life is relationships.
Absolutely. People often focus on achievements, but relationships have a huge impact on happiness.
The people around us influence us, so choosing supportive relationships matters.
Exactly. Spend time with people who encourage growth and respect your goals.
That doesn't mean avoiding everyone who is different.
Right. It means understanding which relationships help you become better.
I think learning from others is also important.
Definitely. Successful people often learn from mentors, friends, books, and experiences.
Because nobody has all the answers alone.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the future. Many people worry about not knowing exactly what they want.
That's very common.
Some people feel pressure to have their entire life planned.
But life rarely follows a perfect plan.
So what should people do?
Focus on the next step instead of needing to know everything.
The next step,
Yes, sometimes clarity comes through action.
meaning you discover what you want by trying things.
Exactly. You don't always think your way into a better future. Sometimes you act your way into it.
That's a great point.
Many people wait until they feel completely certain before making changes.
But certainty often comes after experience.
Right.
So being willing to explore is important.
Definitely.
I think another important lesson is that growth never really ends.
Yes, personal development is a lifelong journey.
There is always something new to learn.
Exactly. A person can continue improving at any age.
That's encouraging.
It means your future is not completely determined by your past.
You can always make new choices.
Exactly.
Looking back at everything we discussed today, there seems to be one common idea.
What is it?
Small actions create big changes.
I agree. The life you have tomorrow is built by the choices you make today.
Not one decision, but thousands of small decisions.
Exactly.
So if someone wants to improve their life, they don't need to wait for the perfect moment.
Right, they can start with one small action today.
Maybe reading a few pages,
Learning a new skill.
taking care of their health,
Having a difficult conversation they've been avoiding.
or simply believing that change is possible.
Exactly.
Before we finish, what final message would you give to someone who wants to become a better version of themselves?
I would say don't underestimate small progress. You may not see big changes immediately, but every effort is building something.
Growth takes time.
Yes, be patient with yourself. Stay curious and keep moving forward.
Don't let mistakes stop you.
Learn from them.
Don't wait for confidence.
Build it through action.
Don't compare your journey with others.
Focus on becoming better than you were yesterday.
That's a wonderful message.
At the end of the day, creating a better life is not about becoming someone else.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
Thank you for spending this time with us.
We hope this conversation gave you some ideas and motivation to continue improving yourself.
Remember, every day is a new opportunity to learn, grow, and create the life you want.
Keep learning, keep improving, and keep believing in yourself.
See you next time.
Take care.